So my name is Ronan Miller, and I'm an English foreign language teacher and a PhD researcher at the University of Valencia in Spain. So my job as an English foreign language teacher involves preparing classes and delivering the classes to adults and children. And my job as a PhD student is related to that because I'm doing research about the experiences of students who stammer in English foreign language learning. I like teaching people. I like the interaction with the students. I like the fact that every day is a little bit different because obviously the students come and people have got they're in a different frame of mind or feeling differently on different days, and you have to adapt to that, and keeps it kind of fresh and interesting. I studied linguistics with media and cultural studies at university, and then I did a master's after I went to Spain in languages and technology, and now I'm doing my PhD in teaching. And all of those things are kind of related to language and linguistics and that kind of thing. And I don't know, I've always had a kind of fascination with language, I think. And I think in a way that's related to having a stammer, because you do, my opinion anyway, personally, I think you see language from a slightly different perspective, because you come to learn quite young that it's not necessarily a straightforward relationship. And I've always found the way people say things really interesting, the way people use language really interesting, different accents, different turns of phrase, things like that. I've always found that really interesting. I would say that although it may seem that stammering could be a hurdle, maybe, or make teaching more difficult, I think it can actually be an advantage in certain ways. And we don't have to see it as a difficulty necessarily, because I think one of the most important things about teaching is to engage with students on a human level. And in my experience, it was always easier to do that with teachers I could see as who I could see as being a person, rather than like a perfect teacher figure type of thing. And stammering I'm getting blocked now. Stammering is real. You can't hide, it's there and you can't avoid it. It's real, and people are aware of it, and that's not a bad thing. And you can't disguise it, and I think in a way that can help students, because that's an important thing to learn about life as well, that you can't, some things you can't hide, you can't disguise, and that's not a problem. And you can be open about these things, and by being open about it you can generate strength in a way. We as people who stammer should have faith in our abilities to do things, and just because we speak how we do doesn't undermine our other strengths. And then I'd also say that there's lots of adults who stammer out there who are really working hard to talk about stammering and raise awareness and stuff like that. And if you are a young person who stammers, you're not alone. And I think that's an important thing to remember, because there's around the world there's millions of people who stammer, and there's a lot of us who are trying to make things better for the next generation. And that regardless of your line of work, you should remember that you're not alone in terms of stammering, although it can make you feel only sometimes. And that we're out here, and there's people out here, and you've got support all over the place if you need it, and just aim for the sky, you know. That's what I think young people who start should do. I've always felt reasonably well supported, but I do think it's worth saying that I think sometimes people want to be supportive and they want to be helpful, but I think sometimes they're not quite sure how they can be supportive and how they can be helpful. So I think in that sense, if I start the conversation, it kind of helps them as well in a way, know how to deal with it. So I think it's important for people who stammer as well to, you know, talk about it. Because in general, I think people want to help. People are well-meaning and they want to help you. I think it has, but I think it pushed me forward as well. So I guess by holding myself back, I feel like I've in a way gained extra energy. And once I've been released, I've really gone for it, you know. So at this point in my life, I generally only see it as a positive thing. It's led me to do things that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise done. Moving to Spain was a big thing for me. That was mostly in part because of my stammer. I wanted to do something to really kind of test myself and get out of my comfort zone. And it's led me to meet loads of amazing people who stammer and who don't, but who I probably wouldn't have met if I didn't stammer, I think. It's made things difficult at times, but ultimately I think it's been a useful experience and a positive one overall, if I think about it overall. So yeah, it's held me back, but it's also pushed me forward, and I think pushed me forward to a greater extent than holding me back.